Welcome to Living the Bella Vida Podcast. This is Erin Schmidt, your host, and today I'm joined by Antonio Lujak and Jigeesh of the Tacoma movie, which is launching very soon. Welcome to the podcast today, you guys.
Good to be here. Good to be here.
Yeah,
Thank
I'm
you.
excited to have you. So thank you both for allowing me to screen the movie. It was a big help in preparing for this. If I hadn't been able to see it
Sure.
beforehand, I would have
Mhm.
been stabbing in the dark. But the movie is called Tacoma, and it's launching on all different platforms. And Antonio, I was going to ask you first. Um, so I was very impressed with the cast. You did a great job being sort of menacing in the background of the film. And there's some real surprises in the film that I was like, oh, wow, I wasn't expecting that. So I'm excited for you guys to tell a little bit about the film and how you both started to really work together on this film. So we'll start with Antonio on that.
Me and Jigeesh were introduced to our mutual friend Zoran, who is as well attached as EP on the movie, and he started really introducing Jigeesh highly, and he worked for Francis Coppola. You gotta meet him. He's a very cool person, a great director, writer, and I got to read the script, and then we met in LA at one point, and our collaboration started there, and we started with before the COVID. We started to attach talents, trying to get the financing, and everything's kind of start going, but then COVID happened, and everything happens for a reason in life. So because Jigeesh then had a time actually to rewrite the script and make it even more unique. So I'm finding that as a lucky charm that happened actually for us. And on the end, I'm very happy and very grateful for our collaboration, because it's not easy to have two minds agreeing on everything and supporting each other, but I'm here to support Jigeesh's message and his creative mind, and because on the end he's writer, director, and
Right.
I'm here to support the way and give advice. And so I'm very grateful for our collaboration and work together, and many more to come.
That's amazing. Yeah, and Jigeesh, I mean, that is so cool that you wrote the screenplay, and then it's a really compelling and sort of surprising storyline. First of all, where did you get the ideas for, or inspiration rather, for the script, and were there any challenges in writing it or getting it made other than COVID? I mean, that was like a big barrier for a lot of creative projects.
Yeah. I don't think any project of any size is it's never like smooth sailing. It's
Right.
like there's always, like, making movies is always kind of like for 100% of filmmakers out there of and various stages of their careers, it's they're gonna have these ups and downs and stuff.
Yeah.
But for me, my focus is just making great movies, making making the best movie we can, and that's a movie that I'd love to watch. Like, the idea came from actually, like, it was kind of like towards the, it was like I was, it wasn't any kind of huge revelation or anything. It was just like, wow, this would be cool to do. And also, I mentioned, in a previous scene, we kind of also, but scientifically, but also in terms dramatically, and then also combining the genres of thriller and horror in there as well. But represent America the way it is today. It's like, to truly do that with the characters and how they are, and not like just throwing those characters in there or throwing a particular actor in there. They have to be, obviously the right ones, and really embodying those characters and stuff. So but the idea was just for the something I wrote down once. I was like, it'd be great to make this, and so we did it. And so just initially kind of wrote the script in like a few weeks. And so, and then, I did get a chance. Then COVID happened. And so I was like, wow, I'd like to, it's cool. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to add this. So it took another week to rewrite, to do what I wanted to, really make it, the way I wanted to. And that was kind of, and then, pretty soon after COVID, we got going, and, and that was it. Antonio is just the best. He's awesome, a great producer and great partner to have. He's constantly driving, constantly pushing, making stuff, he's all about making stuff happen. And where, with me, I can focus on, that's his strengths are like, just like doing that. And like, he like business pushing, really kind of, delivering, where that's his focus, and, multifaceted, which is awesome. That's what a great producer has to be, and a great partner, whereas like my focus is writing and directing. I'm not like good at what he does, so, and so it's like, and so it's really nice to have that synergy, we can have a great partner like him to, and you come together, like you said, meeting of the minds, come together and you kind of fit like, two puzzle pieces where it's like, and that's great.
You need a partner that is got strengths that you don't have, right?
Exactly. The yin to the yang, it's like, it's got to be that way. It's got to be like that. And so it's like, and so, and so I think like, it's an awesome partnership, and, I'm grateful to have him as a partner, And
where did you guys shoot the film?
We shot the movie in LA pretty ambitiously. We shot the movie in like 16 days and stuff. So I mean, pretty much. I mean, it took like it took like months off my life.
I bet.
That's
a lot.
Driving. I was pretty much blasted for like a month. I think like our cinematographer Arthur Gubin, who's a great cinematographer. He got sick. And I think one of the other producers got sick. I mean, it was just so much fun on the mind and body, like, and we had shoots. Yeah, it was like we had shoots in the day, then we had to come back the next morning, but then we have night, like there were a lot, you can see just in terms of visually, like we preferred to like, just in terms of visual style, we wanted fewer scenes in the day, more at night. Yeah. And so, I mean, very basically. And so, but in order to do that, we'd have to start at like 4 p.m. and go till, 4 a.m. or something like that. And we did that consecutively. We went
brutal.
Like I got out of the house 6 a.m. It was daylight.
I think the last sequence, that big action sequence where you see at the end, which just culminates to that, right? In terms of
that was crazy. I was like,
that was crazy one. Yeah, and so I mean that itself, we went overtime. We started at like 4, and then we went to 5, and then so. I remember Asher, who's the lead, he had to leave because he had to catch a flight, like, and I was like, no. We had to improvise.
No pressure, we gotta wrap this so I can catch my flight. Wow. So Antonio, your role in the film is very subtle. So you're always you're acting in the film as well. And you did a really good job, hanging in the background, just giving these really intense, like menacing looks, like I want to rip you apart type.
He learned.
You were really good at kind of giving that undertone of danger in the film, that there's going to be some danger and some real conflict in the film. As a supporting actor, though, was that really challenging? Because you didn't have a ton of lines in the film. You had to really like convey that non-verbally. Was that really a challenging role, like in some ways?
I mean, as I'm more than 20 years in the business, I love challenges. But it was actually, I can share details. I was pretty stressed when we had the first time filming it, because I'm a producer. So I was arranging a car to arrive, and the car was delaying, and I was super stressful, and I didn't do a good takes because my mind was not there. And then we had a reshoot later on in a week, and it went great. What I love about Jigeesh and his delivery is that he really gives a talent a space for delivery. He's not structured. That the script is like a Bible, so you can improvise, and if you feel like some delivery is more natural to you. So I clicked in and it went really great actually. But it's it can get intense if you're producing and you have things on your mind. And then you have to think,
especially on that tight of a schedule. I mean, wow. So most films film over like 30 days. That's like a tight schedule. So 16 days, I can't even imagine.
And a lot of people, came with the favors because love what we're doing, and then with favors, comes also obligations. So, but we made it through.
Right. And so going to Jigeesh, like when you were going to cast the film, and you had a really stellar cast of people that are relatively, indie actors, not big names, except for Eric Roberts, who I'm excited to hopefully have on the show soon. I mean, how did you go about finding those people, and was it kind of challenging? I mean, being in LA, there's tons of very talented actors who don't have a big name, so maybe it wasn't that challenging, but I'm always fascinated, like, how did you discover some of these people?
That's a good question. Like, I think I really, I love the cast and they were great. I think like for me, I mean, like, it's like, it's important, like, we have, crew members who are good at what they do. We'd have good casting directors. So I knew what I wanted, like I knew what I wanted, like for instance, Asher and I think Carrie were like, that's who I wanted. Like, I mean, we had others, like in terms of having that Indian American lead that I wanted, in specifics, he was always actually a first choice, Asher, because he was presented to me. And then there were others I was looking at, like, it's not quite right. And Carrie too was also presented. And I was like, she's great. She'd be excellent. And, there were a couple others. Actually, we had one just before Carrie, we were thinking about casting. And so, but, who in terms of Eric, I've actually always wanted to work with him because I've been a big fan of his. Like, and it was just like
he's one of the most underrated actors. He's
as an actor,
stellar. He's so good.
He's so good. And I think, honestly, it's just that because he's just constantly doing everything, like, I mean, he's not like, for instance, if you look at, other actors kind of around his age range, like, I mean, they're kind of like, maybe Christopher Walken's a bit older, but also like Bruce Stern or something like that, kind of in there. Actually, I think Eric is like younger of both of them because they were more 70s. So they're coming in age, but they pick and choose and they don't, but he's just constantly doing, even if it's not like this previous interview, he was like, oh, this is a, Tacoma is a movie I'm actually proud to be in. So
I heard that.
I was like 10% of movies that I do, I'm actually proud to be in or something, And so because he's got like 700 credits and he just takes everything,
that's insane.
which is crazy. And it's like, I mean, I'm like, Eric, turn something down once in a while, man. It's okay. It's fine.
I just have to say, like, I'm going to talk to him about this. I'm really excited that you guys are helping me to get him on the show as well soon. But his role was like, you really had to have a stellar actor for that role because you're so restricted in what he could do. And I won't give away why, but he really couldn't move. And he was just like, you had to get everything from his delivery with his face and his just gesture.
But also kind of like, also like for me, characters are kind of defined by, like every other character, obviously, but defined by actions, but kind of like, also characters are defined by kind of, if you threw them in situations, what would they do? And so I can't tell, like,
how they react.
It's not exactly, it's not right for a director to tell that person, if you have that character inside, if that character is in you, like that, you will, that character will come forth, and you will do what that character would do in that. And so I'm kind of referring to Eric, the pizza scene, and we're referring to the catheter and all that kind of
yeah.
So without giving anything away, all those were written, all that was written, and it wasn't like you get. But if I did that,
but how he played it, I'm sure was all him.
Yeah.
No, he made it extra disgusting and like
and like
really?
and I loved it. And like and I can't say enough about like Antonio did a great job. Of course, we just talked about him, but like but we talk, Joseph and James, Joseph, who played Philip, and their chemistry together was how they worked off one another. I loved, and I let them Antonio's mentioned, kind of let them loose, and stuff. So and then I make adjustments here and there so they don't, they don't completely go crazy. But
I'm sure it was intimidating acting opposite Eric Roberts. He did a great job holding his own.
Actually, Eric is I think all great actors are, and he's such a great actor. I mean, like I said, my favorite
set other people at ease, probably.
Yeah, it's like it's generous, being generous, and it's like and that's how you're going to get. I mean, especially like that also extends to the set. It extends to others, where it's like just everything should be zen, everything should be good, and that puts, because the actors are kind of going after you, they're kind of really like they're putting themselves out there emotionally and stuff, and for me, that's what I like to explore the most with actors. Is like stuff's written, as Antonio said too, which is great. Stuff's written, but it's like which way, which direction do you want to take this in, and stuff, and that arc could change slightly and stuff. So to me, those are just like super, just absolutely interesting explorations of what a good actor becomes, that character will do, and stuff. So
and they interpret it, right? What the words on the page come to life with their interpretation. Exactly. So we're going to be wrapping up in just a minute, but because this is called the Living the Bella Vida Podcast, excuse me, which means beautiful life. I always ask people, what does living a beautiful life mean to you? And I'm going to start with you, Jigeesh. How do you define living a beautiful life? What sorts of things do you do, or what sort of things do you attribute to that?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, it definitely depends on the situation. For me, aside from my love for making movies, and watching them, listening to great music, having a scotch and cigar on my back patio of my house, and being just here, in my space. That's actually what I love the most, and I just I just love the peace, and I love the and sometimes very minimal contact, some solitude, but and just like Antonio.
That's why you want to be behind the camera, not in front of it, right?
And when I'm not there, it's like at home, it's like with a handful of people that I love. Antonio being one, he's a brother, he's family, so it's like, that's how. So to me, that's the good life. That's the,
nice.
To me, that's how I feel. Yeah. And
that's awesome. Yeah. Now, Antonio, I'm asking you that same question, and I know you have a story to tell. Also, you came from Croatia. You were Mr. Croatia. You did modeling, you did acting, now producing. But you were in a horrible accident, and you've had to overcome a lot, and it's not easy, I'm sure. So what really motivated you to get past all of those, and how do you view living a beautiful life differently, maybe even after what you've been through?
I mean, if I can say about my life, where I'm getting the motivation through is like, in the very early stages of my life, me and my family, we went through, a very bad situation in my country, which was a war. And it lasted really long. And it taught me that if every person in the world has a freedom and can wake up in the morning and have a free life, you're already blessed. and healthy life. You're already blessed, and it's enough to motivate you to do the best what you can of your life, right? And it's just every day for me, it's a new opportunity to meet, some new motivations, either with people or projects or your health or doing something good for you to make you feel good. So yeah, I went through a really big accident 2 years ago, and right after we finished the filming, so my own car actually, rolled back while I was behind, and and squeezed me, and I went through a really big recovery. And but motivation was again, I want to live. There's so much I have to do in my life that I don't have time for everything. The time is precious. So again, I'm maybe I'm lucky from a God, to give me this motivation for life. But I came back like even stronger and more motivated and more hungry for success and helping people and creating a community. And and that's why I love the producing, because I can share some of amazing stories that will motivate or wake up people, because that's what we need in the world. We need to share the awareness of communities, because we are people and we are the community. We need to protect the community.
Yeah, absolutely. With Memorial Day yesterday, I was really reminded by there's so many wars going on and so much division and, just horrible things happening, especially in Eastern Europe, but also obviously in the Middle East and in our own country, right? In the United States, there's so much division right now. And, really, as a memorial, we need to remember that we should all be praying for peace. Yes, we want to honor those who died, but why did they die? Did they have to die? If we can come together as a world and
that's a very good point. That's a very good point. You said, did they really needed to die, or what for they died? For who they died?
I mean, and I don't want people to email me and say you're horrible and you don't support the military, because I do. I have people in my family who have died in World War II, World War I, and several others. So, I understand their pain, but we need to re-examine what's going on. And that's part of why I do this podcast. We need to examine how we can heal and what really makes a beautiful life and how we can pass that around, right? And pass it to each other. And
what is your definition of a beautiful life?
You're turning the tail on me, huh?
A little bit.
I don't like telling people that. Somebody else did that to me in an interview. No, it's okay. I don't want to skew people's answer, right? So
we both answered, so I thought,
but I will tell you, to me, I'll just tell you too, if you're going to turn the tail on me. My father committed suicide 5 years ago, and it was right before I launched my company, Beautiful Life, Bella Vida.
Sorry to hear that. Sorry.
That's okay. And I need to talk about it. It's hard for me to talk about it, but I don't like to sugarcoat, because there's people out there who are suffering.
Okay, exactly.
And I've suffered greatly because of that loss. And so I need to spread the message that no matter what you're going through, no matter what challenge you're facing, you can find the beauty in life. Yeah. There's always something that we can stop and be grateful for. Like Antonio said, you're grateful that you have another day on this earth, that you can walk, that you can talk, that you didn't, I've had very close people to me die in horrible car accidents. So it's a gift to be on this earth and to have another day to follow our passions, follow our dreams, and find the beauty in the small things. So for me, it's being in nature, going to the beach,
exactly,
recognizing the power of God in our life. So, so that's my answer.
Beautiful, awesome. Thanks for
it's
telling
good for me
that.
to talk about it. It's hard to talk about, but
actually,
that's what
I spent the
drives me.
holiday yesterday at my friend's house in Malibu, but it's small. It's an apartment, but has the best view, on the ocean.
If you're in Malibu, you're living the good life. Come on. It doesn't matter how big the place is, right?
I brought my DJ set. We were playing music. And at one point of the time of the night, I just sit down and I embrace the sound of waves. And I was like, this is life. This is what we need. This is where we belong to. Nature, waves, not the city sirens and noises. And
that's why I think a lot of Hollywood stars move to Malibu, is they can get away from the nuttiness of LA and just be, listen to the ocean, because it's very quiet in Malibu at night, right? That's the goal, right? That's the bucket list: house in Malibu. So, well, I'm so excited to have you both here. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for having us.
And people probably think, Tacoma, it's about Seattle or it being in Washington. It's not. The surprise in the movie is that Tacoma is a pig, and you have to find out why. But tell everybody where and when they will be able to watch Tacoma. I'll let you do that, Jigeesh.
Oh yeah, it's they'll be able to watch it on multiple platforms on the Friday, the May 31st. It goes. It'll be on Apple TV. It'll be on Amazon, Vudu, various cable. So
Apple TV,
Prime, Google as well, Google Play, Prime Video. And so I can watch them on multiple platforms, and hopefully have a good time with it.
And we will have another quarter as well when it's coming on Peacock and Tubi.
It's coming on what?
Peacock and Tubi.
Oh, Peacock, yeah.
That'll be a couple months later. Couple months
now.
Right.
Yeah. So,
well, I'm really excited to talk to Eric Roberts about his role too in the movie Tacoma. And thank you both for being here. It was a real pleasure getting to know you and talking about the film. So
you too. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So this has been the Living the Bella Vida podcast. If you want to follow these guys, they are all over social media. You can look up the film Tacoma. It's coming out May 31st. And be sure to subscribe down below. We're going to have a lot of great interviews coming up. And thank you for being here.